Notre Dame fans, can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Are we excited to be here for the Notre Dame Texas A&M game tonight? All right, that's not loud enough, guys. We are going to need to get a little bit more excited than that, okay? I like what these kids are doing up here. Everyone should channel this energy right now. Excited for the game tonight, of course. More exciting to me, at least, is that you're all here to listen to the Echoes podcast. And thank you to our sponsor, Drive and Shine Car Wash. Thank you very much. They're over there. Check them out on your way out. We've got a really exciting show for you guys. We got a couple Notre Dame legends coming in here. We got Kyle Rudolph and Sheldon Day. Our special celebrity fill-in for Gojo is Kyle Rudolph, because Gojo, Michael Jr., could not be here today. We miss him very much. But we are going to lightly roast him with his former roommate, Kyle, later on in the show. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the game tonight, especially because we're making history tonight, Notre Dame fans. We're making history because this is the first time they're selling alcohol in the stadium. Yeah, it's a big deal, okay? I mean, I know they sell it in, like, the fancy suites, but now everyone else gets to have some seltzers and beer as well. So I'm very excited for that. Last year, Notre Dame made history. Their first ever campus site to host a college football playoff game. Now the first ever game at Notre Dame Stadium where we're all going to be able to drink beer. So this is a very historic day for Notre Dame. So thank you to everyone who is here. And again, thanks to our sponsors, Drive and Shine Car Wash. This is going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, I'm going to bring out our special celebrity guest host, Kyle Rudolph. Welcome, welcome. He is a very large man, so of course he has to crouch to get out here. You guys should have seen him try to fit in the RV. It was quite a sight to behold. Kyle, I am excited for tonight. I am excited to get your thoughts on Notre Dame. Obviously, a lot of excitement, some concern. You know, started the season 0-1. We've got a lot of things to talk about with this Notre Dame football team. So how are you feeling about this wonderful home opener against Texas A&M?
I'm excited. I think one of the things that we've seen over the last couple years is how we bounce back from losses. I was just over there at Pete's preview, so talking about this game, my headset keeps going in and out, and I'm not smart enough to not hear myself and then
great,
hear myself. And so I'll try my best until we get this headset figured out.
Power through, I say.
They were talking about opening up the season on the road with a huge game, like huge opponent. As soon as the offseason starts in January after the national championship run, we're talking about Miami on the road. All spring ball, all training camp, well, they don't have preseason, but all the scrimmages, and then you go on the road and you lose. That's pretty deflating.
Yeah.
It's like everything, every sign in the building's been, Miami, this many days. For us, I think it's incredible that we got a week off.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. Let's reset. We're going home. Get the home opener on prime time in Notre Dame Stadium. So I'm sure we'll get into some of the X's and O's here later, but I'm feeling good about tonight.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to get into some more of a little bit of a game preview. I know there's some Aggies fans in here, so
Yeah.
we are Texas A&M respecters.
Yeah.
We are Mike Elko respecters. Okay, he used to be here at Notre Dame. I think he's a great coach. But we're going to talk about some of the keys we think are important for Notre Dame to turn things around from that Week 1 loss to Miami. But before we do that, like I said, we do need to lightly roast my regular co-host, Michael Jr., who is Kyle's former roommate. So we have a little bit of a game called How Well Do You Know Your Roommate? And Mike answered some questions for us about some things that he does and likes. And so I'm going to see how well you know Mike by asking you those questions. So
sounds good.
we're going to start with hopefully an easy one. I mean, how many people in the crowd probably know what your best friend's favorite movie is?
Oh, that with him?
I mean, it seems like something you would know about your best friend. So
Not when your best friend was a film and television major. Like, he has a million
well, you think his
favorite
favorite
movies.
movie's like Citizen Kane? Come on.
No.
It's Mike. And he also gave 2 answers, so there's 2 possible correct answers to Mike's favorite movie.
Wedding Crashers?
No, that's
Damn.
neither of them. Okay, so we don't know Mike's favorite movie. For the record, it was Gladiator or Blockers. I mean, he's an O-lineman. Blockers kind of...
No.
You think he lied about
There's
his
kids
favorite
here.
movie?
I have an inappropriate Blockers story.
We'll save that for the
We laughed
the
really
Echoes
hard
After
watching
Dark
that
show.
movie in my basement and may have had a few Bud Lights. Where did my Bud Light go? Yeah.
Okay, this one should be easy too, because it's Mike. Favorite late night go-to snack?
It better be Taco Bell.
It's Taco
Thank
Bell.
you.
All right. That we got to applause. You got one
Yeah,
right.
we got one right.
Okay, we'll do a couple more.
So I can expand on that. I'm pretty sure we kept the Taco Bell in business when we were in college.
The one at La Fortune.
And we didn't have NIL money, so we had to figure out how to go value shopping at Taco Bell.
Do you have flex points or no?
They didn't take flex points at Taco Bell.
Oh man, Domer dollars? Okay. This one is perhaps a little PG-13 rated. What is Mike's go-to party trick?
So when I spoke to Mike earlier, because I think he was giving me a little preview of the show, he didn't want me to come up here and diminish the quality of the content. And he's like, they're going to ask you some questions. He's like, I can't tell you, but one of them is a party trick. And I can't wait to hear how you tell this story in a PG manner. So Mike's party trick, I would have to say Mike's party trick is the way he dances when a certain song comes on the radio. And I say radio because that's when we were in college. Like when you play the song on your iPhone, Pony is the song.
Okay, yeah, he got it. So Mike does a sexy dance to Pony.
He did it to my wife at my wedding. So that's the best way I can describe the PG version of the story is that Mike danced on my wife to Pony at my wedding.
Okay, well, you do know Mike pretty well. I'll ask one more question because this one I think is just funny. Do you know what Mike's pregame ritual is?
Puking everywhere.
Yep. Oh, he nailed it. All right. Other than movies, I mean, it seems like you really know your
in
roommate.
the movie, there's just two. Like, I feel like Mike was watching a new movie every time. Like, I came downstairs from my room, he was like had something else on.
But he never quoted Gladiator to you.
No, the Blockers one I should have known. The fact that there was 2. I needed to get that one. That's a mistake that we can't have tonight. We can't have those mistakes.
We will get to blocking in a second, I'm sure, because we obviously have to talk about Notre Dame's offensive line. We have to talk about Eli Raritan. We have to talk about, I mean, of course, you're a tight end, so we have to talk about tight ends and tight end depth and all of that. But before we do, because I know there's a lot of young the Echoes fans right in the front row, I have to ask you this question. Who is the celebrity that would leave Mike the most starstruck?
Who would be most starstruck from?
Yeah, who would Mike be starstruck seeing?
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's Taylor Swift. Are you guys Taylor Swift fans? How did
She's
I know?
okay, right?
Well, Brian Kelly used to coach her now fiance in college, so there's a little Notre Dame connection with Taylor Swift for you guys. So let's talk a little bit about the game tonight. I obviously mentioned you're a tight end. You know, Eli Raritan, he had a few drops in the game against Miami, but he played almost the entire game. Not a lot of tight end depth in that game. Obviously, we've had some tight end players dealing with injuries early in this season. So how do you evaluate that position going into tonight? Do you think this is going to be just like a bounce-back game for him? Do you think you're going to get more guys in the rotation? Or what is Notre Dame going to have to do at tight end specifically in this one?
Yeah, I think, and Mike, Coach Denbrock historically has liked to use multiple tight ends. But also, like, you just got to kind of think of the last handful of years in that position here. We had the best statistical tight end and arguably one of the best tight ends that ever played at Notre Dame in Michael Mayer, who left a couple years ago. And then Mitchell Evans comes in. He's the starter. tears his ACL. Eli's coming off both ACLs early in his career. So we went from having one guy who played every snap of every game, and like the man was the man, and like you knew who the alpha was in the tight end room. And then he leaves, he moves on to the NFL, and then you have like a bunch of really good football players in that room. Ultimately, you know, Mitchell's the starter. Well, then he gets hurt. So how are we getting these guys below him experience? Eli was one of those guys that filled in and started playing. And then, you know, everything that you read or that I heard about this offseason was, you know, Eli and his progress and his growth as a player. And it makes sense. Like, super talented kid coming out of high school, obviously a family lineage of football here at Notre Dame. Health, bad luck.
Right.
You know, tears both ACLs. And now, you know, a couple years past, you start to see the true skill set that he has coming out. Are there a couple passes that he would like to have back from last week? Of course. I was talking to someone on campus earlier. They're like, what's that like? Like, you know, your whole life, you go play catch in the yard and you don't even think twice about it. You just catch the football. And I'm like, well, you drop the first one and then that's what you're thinking about. You drop a second one, now you're really thinking about it. So I hope, and I know Mike as well as I do, and him knowing the tight end group as well as he does, I think we'll see a couple more. I also think Eli is a guy that you got to get the ball in his hands early. Like, short routes, maybe some play action pass. Like, he just needs to catch a football. As soon as you catch a football and you get tackled, you completely forget about the drops that you had last week. But until you catch a football, that's all you're thinking about. Like, man, I dropped those 2 balls last week.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get more into the offensive line and CJ Carr and all of that, but I want to bring out our next guest, who's actually my class at Notre Dame. I graduated in 2016. He also is from the class of 2016, Sheldon Day, a NFLer playing right now in Washington, and thankfully he had a Thursday night football, so he was able to join us today. But Sheldon, 10-year vet, yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Hard to do. Hard to do.
Hold on, Kyle played longer than me. I don't want to make it seem like I'm older or anything.
No, 10 years is a long time.
How long did you play?
I got 12, but I wasn't in the trenches like Sheldon was.
Okay.
Hold on, time out. Kyle, you had to go against me. You were in the trenches.
Not purposely.
He preferred to not be in the trenches.
But, Kyle, I would say your job was way harder than mine. You had to block us and then go for a pass and then
Yeah.
get hit. Don't sign me up for that.
I tried to avoid as much of the first one as I could. If I could not block people like this, it certainly made catching passes a lot easier. But it's all part of the job. But
All right,
10 years in the NFL, that's incredible.
It's hard to do, and very happy anytime we get to watch some Notre Dame alums playing in the league. So welcome back to campus.
Appreciate it.
I want to ask you about Notre Dame's pass rush, because you're obviously a pass rusher. You're in the defensive line trenches, like you said. And that was one thing that Marcus Freeman talked about after the Miami game, was like, we got to get more pressure, and we got to figure out ways to either get more pressure with 4 players or be able to simulate pressure or bring more players in off the edge to pressure. So what do you think Notre Dame is going to do in this game to make sure that they do actually apply some pressure onto Texas A&M's quarterback, Marcel Reed?
Yeah, I would say we got to send the house. Pressure them often and early, get them off rhythm, make sure that we, I guess, get this timing off. Because I know as a quarterback, you get your timing off. It's like, oh, well, now I'm looking at the rush. I'm not looking at where I can go with the ball. And now that's where the sacks come, the turnovers come, and now we're having a football frenzy, like we like to say on defense. Let's go out there, have fun, play fast, hit guys, and make sure that they feel us. And they come to South Bend, they know that the Notre Dame Irish are ready to play.
Football frenzy is exactly what I think we want to see tonight, especially from the defense. Like, the havoc rate wasn't quite there in the Miami game, but that's something that, like you said, if you're able to get Marcel Reed to hold on to the ball a little bit longer and make him think a little bit more, that's an area where Notre Dame can maybe force some turnovers in this game.
For sure.
So back to what we were talking about with blocking and the offensive line, and I want to get both of your opinions on this. Notre Dame's offensive line was obviously very highly touted going into the season, and they had a rough game against Miami. Miami, you know, they're a good football team. They've got some dudes on their defensive line. But what do you expect to see from this offensive line now that, like you said, they've had a week off, they're coming back home, playing in a home game, they've had time to watch film, to figure out, you know, maybe some missed assignments and things like that. And so what do you expect to see tonight from them?
Well, one of the biggest differences that people don't often, like, crowd noise is talked about a little bit. Obviously, there were a lot of Notre Dame fans in Miami, but it's still a road game. And when you're talking about run game and getting off the football and firing off, it's way easier to do when it's quiet.
Yeah.
So for offense here, we'll have snap count as our advantage. We'll be able to get off the ball. Down there, when you're playing on the road, for me personally as a tight end, I'm 2 players removed from the ball. I've got a tackle next to me, a guard next to him, and the ball. So, I have to block a guy like this who's lined up across from me, and my head's kind of looking at the football. Like, that is not a conducive advantage for us to fire off the ball when I'm looking at the football, because if I look here, I can't hear anything. So tonight we'll have the crowd noise on our side. On the defense of the ball, it'll be quiet for us to operate on offense. We'll be able to use snap count, fire off the ball. I think the big thing for us, and I'm curious to get Sheldon's opinion on this, there's playing against a mobile quarterback.
Yeah.
And, the tendency to be hesitant to bring pressure because you're like, no, like
he's going to take off.
We just want to corral him.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of want him to stand back there and throw the football. I'm trying to think of like all the mobile quarterbacks we played over the years. And it's like you sit in those meetings and like rush lanes are talked about and how important that is. And I think that's huge for tonight, especially if we're going to send the house and bring pressure. And that scares me with a quarterback who can run the football, because when we send the house, if he gets out, that's trouble.
Yeah.
That is true. And I think mentality here, being at home, you got the crowd, you got your family in town, so you're trying to play your best your ability. I think mentality coming to this game will be good for us, especially in the trenches. And then I'll also say when you do bring the house, you got to get them down. And then from an offensive line standpoint, I know snap count is really big. Me being a defensive lineman, I know like if they can go 1, 2, or 3, it makes me a little bit more hesitant. Or if I know I have a mobile quarterback I have to defend, it's like, oh, maybe I don't do a speed move. Maybe I try to do a power move, and now he's still getting out. So it demoralizes the defense once you see a quarterback starting to run. It's like, golly, we're about to have a long day. So I make sure that we got to make sure that we stay in our rush lanes and things like that on the defensive side. But then offensive line side, let's just go out there with a mentality to make sure we move humans today.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest difference between these two games, right? Is you go from a pure pocket passer in Carson Beck, someone who gets the ball out quickly, who's slinging it downfield. Like, he's not going to run. He can move in the pocket, but he's not going to run.
No.
Versus now you've got someone that can really gash you on this explosive plays. The other thing about Texas A&M that, I want to move on to more of like the secondary side for Notre Dame, they've got some transfer wide receivers that are super speedy, super impressive, not huge guys,
They're
but
fast.
They're fast. They've got Mario Craver, who transferred from Mississippi State, and Casey Concepcion, who Notre Dame played when he was at NC State a few years ago. So they've got these guys now where Marcel Reed can just sling it out if he's able to, and that's kind of what their game plan was, bringing those players in. So how does that affect the way the secondary is able to play a lot of man? You play a lot of zone. And if you play man, is Marcel Reed more likely to be able to run on you because your back's turned?
Yep.
How do you think the secondary kind of works on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, what I want to see from our secondary that we saw so much last year, maybe even to a fault, I think of like the play that ended the national championship game, is like, if we're playing man, like press man, like get up in their face. Like last week, it was kind of like we're playing man, but I'm going to give you a couple yards, and we were able to see the big plays they made on third down. It's like we are a press man. We have incredible cover corners. Like if we're bringing pressure, if we're expecting the front four to get home, press, like get in, like that speed is eliminated when you hit them at the line of scrimmage. So that's what I hope to see out of the secondary, and press. Let's get in their face.
Yeah, I respect that. I want to see if we can throw off the quarterback's timing. Like if they try to throw a bubble, can we bull rush the outside receiver and make them hit each other and things like that? And obviously, I want to make sure that our corners can tackle in space. I know that's a big thing, throwing the bubbles and then throwing the slants. Can our secondary tackle in space today?
So what you mentioned, like mentality being a big thing playing at home. Like, what's your mentality as a pass rusher when you know the quarterback is able to really move and can gash you? Is your mentality like attack, or are you more calculated and kind of waiting and seeing what he's doing?
I guess I might be a little different in this area, but I'm going to attack until I get bit, I guess, essentially. So I'm going to do all my speed rush moves. I'm going to do all that stuff. And if he gashes out of my gap, I'm like, maybe I might relax. But obviously, at the end of the day, it's like get him down by any means necessary. If I got to grab a shoelace and hold on to it for dear life, that's what I'm doing. But obviously, being a D lineman, we have a successful day if we get one sack. So can we get him down more than 3 times today and make him feel the pressure, make him look at the rush, and now we turn him into what it could have been and not this good Texas A&M quarterback.
There was I thought Boubacar Traore had a great game against Miami. There was a number of Notre Dame's transfer. Dawson from Louisville, I think, had a really great game on the inside on the defense. But is there any player in particular that you're predicting is going to have a great game on defense and maybe get one of those sacks? For me, it's Boubacar Traore. I thought he really flashed. He's coming off of an injury. Obviously got hurt last year in the Louisville game, but he looked really good last week in Miami, and I expect big things from him this year.
I want to say our edge rushers. I feel like we got to get after them. Make them step up in the pocket, and then that kind of changes him into, I guess, a decent quarterback. And now he has to look down at the rush to escape through the B gap. Just kind of, I guess our edge rushers was who I'm looking at today.
Yeah, to me, I'll go a little further than just the edge guys. You know, for me, like the front 4. Like when you're playing a quarterback that's mobile, if we have to blitz to create pressure, we've got a problem. So if those front 4 can rush, like Sheldon said, he's like, I'm using my speed rush until I get bit by it, until I get beat, till he goes through my gap. If the front 4 are pinning their ears back and rushing, you have linebackers right there. We're good. But if we're sending pressure to create blitz, sending blitzes to create pressure, I'm hoping pressure is something we see on 3rd and long in different situations where go for it. Like, let's create turnovers with pressure. I hope that we don't have to blitz to create pressure. I hope our front 4, the edge guys, just seeing them win against tackles.
Let's talk about C.J. Carr. I'm curious what Notre Dame fans thought about C.J. Carr from that first game against Miami. Pretty good performance, right, for C.J. Carr. Obviously, a few things he can work on, and we'll talk about that a little bit. But, going into that game, that was the big talking point, right? It's C.J. Carr's first start. It's on the road, hostile environment. We know Miami is loud. They're going to pack the house when Notre Dame's in town, and maybe not again for the rest of the entire season. Except maybe this year because they're good, they're ranked. But C.J. Carr, I thought, had a really nice game. He was able to get the ball out quickly. He has a couple issues with maybe some intentional grounding, things like that, trying to evade the sack. But what were some of the positives that you saw from his performance?
I think it's so rare to have like a young, talented quarterback that goes on the road in such a big game and plays well, and then the fan base is ultimately like, I wish we saw less of him. Like, can we give Jeremiah the ball some more? Like, but that's true. When you have a young quarterback and he's got 2 of the best backs in football, it's like, hopefully tonight we see less of him in terms of throwing the football around. And I say less of him. I want to see more throws. I want to see a variation of throws from deep to intermediate to long or short. But I thought he showed, for the most part, incredible talent. I think there's a poise to him. Certainly the intentional groundings, I think that just comes from experience. And it was usually off of a mistake, like a bad snap or something, or pressure right away. And you can tell that he has the poise, having gone through those experiences. The next time it happens, like, it won't be a freak out, I just got to chuck the ball and throw it to nobody behind the line of scrimmage. So I think that's kind of a big thing that we'll see in terms of a progression the more that he plays. The first game he's ever played. So super talented kid. It's interesting in college football because you don't see like true pocket passers all that often in college anymore. And certainly he made some plays with his leg. His first touchdown was like, I think everybody was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It was
crazy.
Great throw, dude. Like, that was awesome. So he certainly can make plays with his legs, but looking forward to seeing more of that arm talent tonight.
I would say you watched him get better as the game went on. Like, just seeing his confidence grow and just seeing how he became a better quarterback as the game went on. I think the experience is going to continue to grow. You're going to see him get better from game to game. And obviously, this being the second game, we're looking forward to, I guess, incredible improvement.
Yeah, definitely. And then one of the things he talked about after the game, too, was some of those RPOs, misreading the defense instead of handing it off, like you said. It's a different game if he hands off a couple of those. Maybe we're not like, hey, what the heck? Why is Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price not getting 1,000 touches in this game?
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting about this matchup tonight with Texas A&M is that their run defense is a little bit more of a question mark than Miami's. They've only played 2 games so far this year, and I don't know if Notre Dame fans were tuned in to the Texas A&M Utah State game last week or Texas A&M UTSA, but don't worry, I was. Both those teams were able to run pretty well on Texas A&M, and of course, we do expect Notre Dame to have 2 of the best running backs in the country on their roster with Price and Love.
Yes.
So that's really going to be an interesting thing to see if Notre Dame's able to get the run game going early. So if you're Mike Denbrock, I mean, what is the first play that you're calling in this game? Are you just like take it and run?
I'm chucking it. Like, we have, it's probably not chucked, but the first, in my opinion, the first play, you want to get confidence in a young quarterback. We've been, the last 3 days, we've repped it on Thursday at practice, Friday at practice. We walked through it this morning. Like, I'm going hard play action, and I'm throwing it. Like, every day in every defensive meeting, Mike Elko is telling his defense, we have to stop the run. We have to stop the run. We don't have a chance if we don't stop the run. What do you think they're going to, like, what do you think they're going to do on the first play? Sell out to stop the run. Like,
Deep ball to Malachi Fields is what I'm
easy opportunity, because you can do that. Like, you could layer a run action with a shot, or like an intermediate route where, hey, if the shot looks good, take it. Like, let's go for it on the first play. If it's not there, you have an intermediate route that you can get the ball to. So for me personally, that's what I would love to see. But what will be interesting throughout the course of the game, going back to Mike Elko and preaching to his defense, we have to stop the run. Like, literally every meeting, I guarantee they're hearing, we got to stop the run. What has Mike Denbrock been telling his offense all week? Yeah. We have to run the football. Yeah. We have to run the football. Like, this offense goes as our run game goes. So to see the ways in which Mike will ultimately get the ball in Love and Price's hands, that's not traditional turn around and just hand it to him. They're going to be ready for that. Yeah. So using the pass game to ultimately set up the run game, I loved offensive coordinator. I guess I got to catch the ball, but I loved offensive coordinators that I had that like knew how important running the ball was, but that didn't mean in the first 15 we were handing it off 12 times.
I'm saying give the people what they want. We want to see Jeremiah Love run the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, let's just go out there. Let's see if they can stop it, and we're going to do it all different type of ways. I would run a crack toss first play and get Jeremiah on the edge, and we're going to see can their corners tackle, and if we put them in space, what are we going to do? Let's see if their athleticism is really showing up tonight.
Yeah, and they're tackling. And, of course, Jadarian Price is one of the best running backs in college football in yards after contact, which is huge in a game like this where we saw last year, I mean, Jadarian Price versus Texas A&M's defense was a winning combination for Notre Dame. So you obviously are very familiar with Mike Denbrock. Did you ever overlap with him?
Yes, I did.
You did. But you were on defense, so you didn't really,
I have to go against him on a daily.
What is it about, I mean, first I want to ask you, how frustrated is he, do you think, after the Miami game, dealing with, like you said, a lot of fans upset, not enough running back touches. And do you think that that's something that he pays attention to at all, or do you think he's just like, no, I don't care what anyone says, this is my game plan?
No, he definitely doesn't pay attention. But I definitely think after the game he probably went back and, you watch the tape, and I feel like as a play caller you have so many things in your mind that you want to call and that you want to get out, and plays that you want to run. And then the game goes a certain way, and, we're down 2 scores. I'm sure he would have loved to just keep handing the ball to the backs and getting the ball to the backs, but you get down 2 scores, like a young quarterback, if we don't get back in this game in a hurry, that incredible Miami front's going to just pin their ears back, and we're going to have problems. So I guarantee you there's probably a handful of calls that he would have loved to have back after that game. Mike's one of the best in the business. He's a great players coach. I know how the meetings went after the game last week. You have time. It's like, all right, guys, forget it. Like, let's move on. Yeah. We're focusing on Texas A&M, and I expect the offense to come out and play well.
Yeah, I think some of those calls were supposed to be handed off, so you got to put those and take those into account. But I think his more so mindset is, how do we move on, how do we get better, and how do we put, I guess, a full, complete offensive drive together? How do we go score points? How do we make sure every possession that we get ends in points? So I think the focus today is how do we have effective points driven drives and make sure that we continue to put our defense in a good situation, and so that we can get up 14 and now we can go run the ball and we can give the world what they want.
Right. I mean, a lot of what we saw was because Notre Dame was chasing for a lot of the game because of that ridiculous touchdown right before halftime that made me scream. What was it like practicing against a Mike Denbrock offense, though? Like, what are some of the things you think he really emphasized that you had to play against?
Discipline. I guess as an edge player, the quarterback zone read was really big, and then he was always trying to do a motion and then do the zone read off of it, and then you'll see tight ends get involved, and I'm like, why do we always have good tight ends? You know, it's like
ask this guy. A lot of it is his fault, really.
This is true. This is true. And you see them catching the passes like this guy is 250 pounds. A safety doesn't want to tackle him. It's like I just did an RPO. They're throwing it to the tight end. My goodness, now I got to go chase this guy. So it's a frustrating thing as a defensive player. But you see, like, okay, you have to be very detail oriented. Make sure your eyes are good. And if you're not, it could be a gash at any time.
So, of course, we've talked about Mike Denbrock now, so I have to talk about the other coordinator on the team, Chris Ash, who's brand new here. This is his first game with Notre Dame last week, replacing Al Golden, who, you know, I will miss dearly. Al really grew on me as a fan. Those defenses got better and better every year.
Every week.
And although the national championship game obviously didn't end the way, or I guess really start the way we all wanted, it ended better than it started, except for that one play that you already mentioned. He was a great defensive coordinator, which is why he's in the league now, which is kind of how it works sometimes. So what is some of the difference that you've noticed watching Chris Ash call a defense versus Al Golden? Or do you think, like, it's kind of impossible to tell? It's only been one game.
I think it's been one game, but I think we'll see more man. I feel like Al Golden was more zone coverage, making sure everybody had eyes on the quarterback. I guess more interceptions and trying to create ball hawks and things like that. But obviously, man works for us. We have the corners to do it. We have the front four that I believe can do it. So it'd be really interesting to see how we grow throughout the season, and then especially today. Can we get after the quarterback? Can we disrupt timing? Can we make sure that as a D-line in the front seven, we're disruptive? I think if we can do those things, this defense would be very, very successful.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything that you noticed that was a little different?
Again, I kind of go to the secondary, like get in people's face. Let's press.
Yeah.
Let's play man. We have so much talent in that secondary, and it's really hard on a quarterback when he's used to, I take 3 in a hitch, and I know my guy's going to be right there. Well, my guy just got jammed at the line of scrimmage, and my timing's completely off. So now what do I do? Yeah. And there's just so many factors that go into a quarterback's thought process throughout the course of a play when you're physical at the line of scrimmage.
All right, so we've talked a lot about this game tonight. We've talked a lot about the game last weekend. I want to ask both of your thoughts on Marcus Freeman. Of course, neither of you played for Coach Freeman. You were here.
We're like the same age.
Who, me?
No,
you?
Me and Marcus.
Oh, you and Marcus.
Played 4. Like, I played against him, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Marcus is, as James Franklin reminded him during the press conference for the Orange Bowl, very young head coach, which Marcus did not appreciate.
Oh, wow.
But you were here with the Brian Kelly era, of course. You had one Weiss year? Or no?
2 Weiss years,
Weiss
1 Kelly year.
Okay, so obviously more outsider now than player on the team, but is there something that you've noticed that's different about just the team culture? And I know Brian Kelly, fans feel a certain way about him leaving, but team culture and him being able to kind of build the program back up is something that he should get a lot of credit for. But what do you notice as just an outsider that Marcus Freeman does really well that's different?
I think when you look at Coach Kelly and Coach Weiss, the 2 coaches that I like, Coach Weiss called the offense. Like, he installed the offense. He coached the offense. Guys on defense didn't have the same relationship with Charlie that I had, or Jimmy had, or Dane had, or Brady had. Like, we were with him all the time. Coach Kelly's the same way. Like, for the most part, like, I know the year that I was here, he called our offense, the whole offense. And yeah, we had an offensive coordinator who would do things in meetings, but when the rubber met the road and we were playing on Saturdays, like, he was calling and coaching the offense. And so when you have a guy like Marcus who, he's a defensive guy and he's a former defensive coordinator, but he's so good about, like, managing everyone and relating to everyone and leading everyone. Way more of like a CEO of Notre Dame football as opposed to, I was a really good offensive coordinator, I was a really good defensive coordinator, now I'm a head coach, so I'm still going to call plays, but 2/3 of the team I can't relate to, and I don't know what's going on that side of the ball or on special teams. So to me, that's the biggest difference in Marcus and just his ability to be around the whole team, all three phases. And seems like it would be just an incredible program to be a part of, incredible culture to, be instilled in. So I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah, I would say the culture just seems way different. I feel like everybody loves each other. Everybody hangs out. I don't know if it's the NIL these days or anything like that.
Well, they got money to hang out.
This is true. This is true. But I guess, like, you can see, like, they enjoy hanging out with each other. I feel like they spend a lot of time in the building together. And like Kyle was saying, like, Marcus just seems like he's running the program from top up. He doesn't throw himself in the offense or throw himself in the defense. He lets his coordinators coach, and it's their defense and their identity on the play style and things like that. And I feel like he's truly managing this team, and I think he's doing an incredible job.
Yeah, the players hanging out with one another. I mean, obviously you hung out with your roommates all the time, but that is something that I've heard from a lot of former players about this team in particular. And Ian Book came on the Echoes. He's a friend of the Echoes podcast a couple weeks ago and was saying the same thing, basically, that like hanging out with your team, whether that's at the college level or the NFL level, it does make a difference because you may, without even realizing it, put that much more effort when you're playing with them. So would you say your team was close like that, or was it just more like position groups?
No, I think we had a close team, but again, it was like the offensive guys hung out, like I had 4 roommates. We all played offense.
And I heard that you all housed Rice Krispie treats, but with the
Kyle,
exception of Kyle, who was
I had 2 offensive linemen that I lived with, and Jake, and a big quarterback. So they definitely housed them. I had to be careful, or I was going to be an offensive lineman. So I had to stay off of those.
Was that something that your team was kind of like, or not quite to this degree?
I guess we hung out a lot. So I roomed with Everett Golson, Ronnie Stanley, and John Turner. So we were split down the middle, 2 defense guys, 2 offensive guys. And then we had Steven Schaefer, too, which shout out to Steven Schaefer. I guess
But Steven was a NARP, right? He was
Do
like
we call
me.
people NARPs?
I think we can say that. I mean, non-athletic regular
I don't know
person.
what's politically correct.
I can say it because I was a non-athletic regular person, so. I like that you guys are afraid of that term, though. That's actually hilarious.
So I said, I would say we hung out.
Now that I'm retired, do I get to join the club?
No, you're still athletic. You're still athletic. So we hung out a lot. So my house was kind of the hangout house, so everybody could come in. I don't think we locked our door one time. So it's just like you'll come home from
the
class.
hangout house.
Yeah, people like, what are you doing here? So we had a good time, though. I would say we hung out more in my later years than we did in my earlier years, for sure.
You mentioned NIL already, and that's obviously been a huge change, is the NIL landscape, the house settlement, all these things that have happened in the offseason. Notre Dame brought in a new GM this year, Mike Martin, who I got to talk to yesterday. Came from the NFL, someone who thought they were going to, work their whole career in an NFL front office. Now all of a sudden there's these college opportunities for GMs and personnel managers. So as someone who's, more of an outsider now, like, do you have an opinion of how Notre Dame sort of handled this new age of college football, whether you want to call it professionalization or just all of the changes in college football? Because I would say from my point of view, it seems like, they're trying to do the right things here, and that's not something I necessarily want to take for granted because it's difficult to do.
Yeah.
No, I think this, it's here to stay. Like, whether you like the new landscape of college sports, you can't put the cat back in the bag. And I think Notre Dame has done such a great job in embracing this new landscape, and no one's set up better to take advantage of this than we are. Like, this is such a competitive advantage. Why do you think Nick Saban retired? Like now everybody gets to pay their players. Yeah. So it's such an incredible opportunity for us that we can not only sell the best university in the world and come here and get an incredible education, and you got the Shields Family Hall that's going up, and you're going to have the best facilities in the country. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, we can pay you just like everybody else. And, when you have that opportunity, it makes this place that much more appealing. Yeah. And, I think we're doing a great job with it. It starts at the top with Pete and his leadership, and then all the way down.
Yeah, I think it leveled the playing field. You see the Alabamas and SEC teams are starting to kind of fade away, and now you see us. We're just slowly climbing the ranks. So I think we're very close, and maybe this is the year where we kind of get over the hump, but make sure that we are getting the right individuals in here. Obviously, Notre Dame is not for everybody, but if you do come here, you understand why, and you know that you're chasing a national championship. So we're doing it right way.
And you guys are not that much removed from college. Is this like shocking? I mean, maybe
Here we go.
I appreciate that.
Is this shocking to you that it's this much has changed just since like 10 years ago when you graduated?
Yes. I never thought we would be here, to be honest. I thought we would always not get paid and we'll always be the amateur sport. But to see it, I'm happy for them. I want to see how it affects people like post-sport, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of issues with it. I think the transfer portal is a way bigger issue than the NIL. Pay these kids as much money as they possibly can. Good for them. But the opportunity to just, I don't make enough money, or I didn't play enough, I'm going to enter the portal and see. It's basically unrestricted free agency with no salary cap. Like Sheldon and I would have loved that in the NFL if every year we could have just been like, all right, I'm going to see what the other 31 teams want to pay me, and I'm out. Like, so I think we're really doing the student athlete a disservice, because first and foremost, how are you a student if you're going to 3 schools in 4 years or 4 schools in 5 years? Like, you can't possibly be working towards any type of degree if you've transferred 3 times. And then the other part of it is, like, what life lesson are we teaching an 18-year-old who doesn't get what he wants, because that'll never happen again for the rest of his life, and he could just leave and go play somewhere else. So I think the transfer portal is the issue, not the NIL.
I agree.
I would like to just reiterate what you said about what is a better place to be able to handle all of these changes in college football than Notre Dame. Everyone that went to Notre Dame, we know how to use Excel.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how to use Excel.
Hold on. How do you make a statement and then, never mind, continue.
Well, everyone except me, because I blacked out during like any non-creative class that I took. But you know, we got a lot of people that are good at business administration here. So I'm with you, Kyle. Like, this place feels like it's right for it. And one other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to our game predictions. Notre Dame was like, hey guys, what if we made a new leprechaun mascot this year for the football team? Yeah. Do you guys like the football leprechaun?
I'm a little biased.
So you don't like it?
I don't know if I do or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come?
I think we need a football in it or something.
Well, there is a football now. He's like carrying a football. Yeah.
Oh, maybe
we gotta get Sheldon some football leprechaun merch.
Somebody's got to have it on. Who's got the new leprechaun on their gear? Anybody out there?
I mean, it's hard to come by. I went to the big Hams bookstore yesterday, and I only saw like one. I think it might be sold out.
Nobody has it?
Nobody.
No one has it.
So that's my biggest complaint with the new logo. I love it. Like, I saw, when it got released on social, I was super fired up. I think it's awesome. Where do I get it?
Buy it?
Yeah, like, where do I get my swag? So that's my complaint. I also went to the bookstore yesterday, and it's not in there anywhere. So.
All right. Well, we got to get some football leprechaun.
Come on, we need some football leprechaun swag.
Maybe football leprechaun / the Echoes Pod branded.
There you go.
Swag.
There we go.
So our buddy Mike Golick Jr., who could not be here today, gave us a game prediction. So we're going to listen to him give his game prediction for tonight right now.
All right, score prediction. I'm going to go Notre Dame 24, Texas A&M 17. Looks like it's going to be a little rainy. Even more reason to hand the ball off to number 4 and prosper. Ground game gets going. Defense plays downhill and aggressive. And we all get to exhale and breathe a sigh of relief after that Miami loss. Go Irish. All right, my question for Kyle. Besides me and our other roommates, who's your favorite teammate during your time at Notre Dame?
That's a great question. I would probably say Harrison Smith. And so Harrison lived right across the street from us. I also got to then go play 9 years with Harrison in Minnesota. So one of my all-time favorite just human beings in general. And like 24-17 is such a basic white girl score.
I hate that.
Like, just
that's not. And as a basic white girl, that is not my score prediction.
Like that is such a he's probably walking around with his Starbucks. Like, Mikey's got to do better than that.
This is true.
That was more offensive than any NARP comment, by the way. Do either of you have a score prediction before I give my opinion on what the score could be?
So again, the line is 6.5, right?
The line is 6.5.
So again, Mike goes to 7. Like, why did he just put the Vegas line in?
But the over/under is 49.5, I believe. So
50. So he's under. He's taking the under. He's taking the Irish and the points. Not that I have a sports gambling problem. Sheldon can't gamble. I can.
This is true.
I think I think we win by double digits.
I like that.
I'm gonna
Love
take
that.
the over, and I'll go 35-21.
Okay, that was very close to my score prediction, but
I'm going 31-17.
31-17. Okay, I think this has the potential to be a high-scoring game.
Ooh.
I think
I like that. Sheldon doesn't, but I do.
I don't.
I don't love it either. I don't think that necessarily means Notre Dame will win, but I think that I expect Texas A&M to rip off a couple explosive plays. I expect them to be able to score, but I think Notre Dame should be able to score too. And I think especially Notre Dame's running backs should be able to just pound the rock.
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be a low-scoring game if Notre Dame does do some sort of like run the ball, game clock management, keep the ball away from Texas A&M style, but I don't think that that's necessarily going to be the game plan we see today.
Yeah, I don't think Mike, not our Mike Elko, I don't think he's going to let us do that.
Yeah.
Like, the way he calls a game is so aggressive, like almost to the point where you give up big plays because he's not going to just sit there and be like, okay, Notre Dame, like methodically run the football on us. He's like, I'm bringing pressure. Like, it might be a run stunt, but I'm bringing pressure. We're going to try to blow up a play in the backfield, and that's where you get an explosive run on offense or an explosive pass. So I'm taking the Notre Dame side of that. We're going to take advantage of his aggression and some of the more aggressive play calls and win by double digits.
I was going to say like 35-24.
Okay.
3 touchdowns and a field goal for them. 5 touchdowns for Notre Dame. Maybe 2 in the first half, 3 in the third quarter, and then ice the game in the fourth
There we
quarter.
go.
It's over by halftime.
That's when we see the run game.
That's the game, exactly.
That's what Mike can say. That's my type of run game. Like, I just get in 4 minute. Like, I don't want to come out the first 15 plays and run it 14 times. That never ends well.
I think it's a mentality thing, though. If I run the ball at you 14 times.
Yeah, until you do it against, like, the Chicago Bears and Khalil Mack, and you're like, we're going to run the ball, and you just run into a wall 14 times, and it's 0-0 halfway through the second quarter, and you're like, well, we could have just thrown it some. Like, that will make running it easier.
Yeah.
So it's the difference in an offensive guys, like, how do we run the ball?
Yeah.
Versus the defensive guy, like, we got to stop the run.
Yeah.
I know that's their mentality, so how do I take advantage of that mentality?
All right, so before we go, I want to thank Drive and Shine Car Wash for sponsoring us. This has been a lot of fun. I want to thank everyone for coming out. I mean, this has been really cool to see how many fans are here of the Echoes pod. Shout out to Gojo. I am very sad he couldn't be here today. But
somebody had to make the show better for him.
I mean, you did, because let's be honest, we got a major upgrade, and not just a better person in general, but like a better football player.
Oh, yeah, Mike would love to hear that.
Mike's gonna hate that.
Yeah, he definitely is. And also another better football player in Sheldon.
Yes.
Hey, I'm just kidding. I said lightly roast. I meant really go hard at Gojo.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for. And, you know, he's got to be in Tempe where it's 110
he doesn't.
degrees
I'm
right
gonna
now.
like the 10:30 Eastern kick for Mikey tonight. That's tough.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
Long day for him.
Also want to shout out, have you guys been to Murphy's Ice Cream yet?
Murphy's Ice Cream, where's this?
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so I had to do some quality control this week before the show and make sure like their ice cream flavors were up to snuff so we could have our show here.
Okay, perfect.
So I did try multiple flavors.
Okay.
Highly recommend the dark cherry. I believe this was a Kilwins when we were on campus, Sheldon. Was it also
It
Kilwins
was, yeah.
for you?
This had just been built when I was here because we were here
Eddy
a little
Street.
before you guys again. But
I imagine your roommates were here a lot.
these were
eating
grass
Kilwins.
fields when I got here. Like, this was all grass, this whole side of the street.
I imagine for a lot of the alums, this is the whole thing is a little shocking to see. I was walking around campus yesterday, and I have no idea what's going on anymore.
A lot of buildings. There's always going to be new buildings here. You know that.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank Drive and Shine Car Wash. This has been a lot of fun. If you are a fan of any of the things that you heard today, we have a YouTube channel, The Echoes, an ND podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Every week, me and Gojo. If he ever wants to talk to me again after this, obviously we'll see.
I'm here for you, Jess.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just have Kyle fill in. But yeah, we're here. You know, we do a show every week recapping Notre Dame football games. We also cover the basketball program, all the athletics, everything going on campus. We love women's hoops, so please like and subscribe, rate and review the show, and follow us along. And hopefully we'll be back here maybe for a playoff game this year.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
So thank you guys so much for coming, and go Irish. Be loud in that stadium tonight, because we got to repay the favor that A&M fans gave us last year.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we need everybody to meet us on the green for a family photo. We're going to take a nice